Sonic has dashed into our hearts since his debut in 1991. As with any fan base of a popular character, fan theories have surfaced. So today, we'll see how much of a footing some of these theories have. Hey guys, I'm Brad with One Up Binge, and this is Sonic the Hedgehog Fan Theories, BS to Truth Bombs. Before we begin, we'd like to mention a couple of things. We'll be focusing on theories that cover Sonic himself as opposed to the franchise. We'll also put most of our focus on Sonic from the games, with an occasional exception here and there. Finally, this list will work a little differently than our other theory videos. Instead of ranking them on a single list, we'll look at each one individually and see how strong or not strong the theory is. Alright, let's begin. First, a theory about the movies. After Sonic got redesigned during the release of the trailers, many people theorized that the original design for movie Sonic was bad on purpose. It's no secret that many people had major issues with the first trailer for the first film. Some people pointed out that the song they used didn't really make sense. However, the highlight of this trailer that got many people buzzing was Sonic's terrifying design. From his tiny eyes, his teeth, nose, beefed up legs, hands without gloves, you cannot go 2 seconds on YouTube without seeing someone's negative reaction. Even late night hosts like Jimmy Fallon or Stephen Colbert talked about it, or at least referenced it, in segments such as Meanwhile. Right after the release, many fans took to Twitter and other forms of media to express their displeasure. It got to be so intense that the movie's director, Jeff Fowler, announced that Sonic's look would be changed. When the next trailer came out, countless people were intrigued to see if Sonic's design was actually improved. The moment everybody got a look at Sonic's face, the internet breathed a massive sigh of relief. While many people saw this new look, smiled, and left it at that, others now had more questions. One of the most primary questions being whether or not Sonic's original design was bad on purpose. Many people believe this was one big publicity stunt. It's no secret in the film industry that if you want people to go see your movie, you want them to get excited about it. One of the most common ways to do this is to get people talking, sometimes through a controversy surrounding the subject. People were definitely talking about the first design, and the outcries were all over the internet. Then, once the character was redesigned, many people said they would now go see the movie, if for no other reason, out of respect for the animators that took their time to fix everything about how Sonic looked. Theorists believe this was the plan all along. If this is where it stopped, then we would have labeled this as probable at the very least. However, this theory has since been debunked. Many have said that the people behind the movie pushed the release date back to the following year because of the redesigning process. They wouldn't have done that willy-nilly to cover up a publicity stunt, as that might also cause some commotion at the theaters if they had to change the release dates on everything connected to the film for seemingly no reason. Also, they spent a lot of money on this redesign. Obviously, movie makers want to make as much money as possible, so they would be extremely hesitant to spend any extra money if they don't have to. Yeah, so it wouldn't make sense to spend more money for the sake of a stunt. As a result, while this theory does sound good on paper, it's officially been classified as debunked. What we can agree on, though, is that we had the same reaction as James Marsden's character, Tom, when he first laid eyes on Sonic in the original trailer. This isn't the only theory that fans have been talking about. Many have speculated that Sonic only dates human women. This one can be tricky, as it can entirely depend on what canon we're talking about. In terms of the games, this one might actually hold some merit. I'm sure we're all aware of the infamy that is the game Sonic 06. It had its fair share of problems, with the glitches being one of the most talked about. However, that was only the tip of the iceberg for many people. The other most talked about aspect, usually in a bad way, is the connection between Sonic and Elise. They share some awkward moments, with Sonic complimenting her smile and then winking for some reason, as just one example.
Nice smile.
But let's not beat around the bush. You all know what this is leading up to. In the final act, Sonic has been struck down by Mephiles. Everyone else goes to retrieve the Chaos Emeralds to save him. After doing so, Elise calls out to the Chaos Emeralds to help bring him back. She then talks to Sonic directly, and she officially brings him back by, I don't think we need to say that. This was the moment that ultimately drove a lot of people over the edge. They could survive some of the glitches, they can even survive the confusing, time-traveling plot points. But no, they weren't gonna survive this one. One thing is for sure, if something like this never happens again, we will not complain. What's crazy is that this almost wasn't Sonic's first possible human love interest in the games. All the way back when Sonic debuted, it was originally planned that Sonic would actually have an official human love interest by the name of Madonna. And no, we aren't talking about the singer. Based off her concept art and connection to Sonic, it's possible that they would have a connection similar to that of Jessica and Roger Rabbit. it. Before the game's final release, however, Madonna was scrapped. There are multiple reports for reasons as to why this was Madonna's fate, one of which came from Yuji Naka. He reportedly said that Madonna was left out due to the kidnap heroines idea being so overused that they wanted to go in a different direction. It's also likely this was done to avoid being too similar to Mario and his rescuing of Peach. Based on Elise and Madonna, this theory could be labeled as possible at the very least. So far, these are the deepest romantic connections that Sonic has had with someone in the games. Arguments for non-human characters like Amy could be made, though that romantic interest seems to be more one-sided than anything. Any other connections, as far as we know, romantically speaking anyways, are only guessed or hinted at. We've talked about elements from the game's universe and the movies, but what if we brought attention to all of them? Well, now we can, as a theory has come around recently that Sonic is aware of a multiverse. This is thanks to Sonic's newest adventure, Sonic Frontiers. In the story, many callbacks are made to previously established games and characters. While most of them are ones that are expected, such as Infinite, Shadow, the attack on Station Square, and so on, there are a couple of characters listed that truly caught people's interest, the first being the character Tangle. This character has grown in popularity in recent memory due to her appearance in the IDW comics. Here's the thing, Tangle has only appeared in the comics. At this point, Tangle hasn't been in any mainline game. The fact that Sonic acknowledged her by name surprised everyone. She has at least appeared in spin-off titles, but nothing in the mainline story. Something similar can be said for Styx the Badger. Yes, it is true that Styx has appeared in some video games, but none of them are part of the main series. Her major appearances have been in the infamous Sonic Boom games and spin-off games like the Rio 2016 Olympics game. Like with Tangle, Styx is also mentioned by name, even though she's only existed in a separate universe. It's primarily due to these two characters being mentioned that the theory has been brought to the forefront. It may also help that the characters in the Sonic Boom show have made many self-aware jokes or found some other way to break the fourth wall, so it would not be out of the question that the characters from the main games could do the same thing. While this idea would be incredible, especially if it meant we got more crossovers to form a Sonicverse, if you will, we think this theory is highly improbable. A big reason for this is a man named Ian Flynn. He's been heavily involved in the writing of the Sonic comics for a while, and has even contributed to a few episodes in Sonic Boom's TV run. He became a writer for Sonic Frontiers, so it's no surprise that, out of anyone, he would be the one to make the connections. Additionally, while Tangle and Styx were mentioned, despite not appearing yet in the mainline universe, their names being mentioned seems less like a multiverse awareness and more of an acknowledgement that the characters do actually exist in the mainline story somewhere. We just haven't physically seen them yet. This can be just as exciting, as this means we could eventually see these characters in the main games one day. Fingers crossed. Alright, let's go back in time a little bit and take a look at a theory revolving around Sonic and the game Sonic CD. If you know about Sonic CD, then you probably know where this one is going. In case you haven't, there's a theory that was made that the sound test screen holds a secret message from a demonized Sonic. If you access the sound test screen in Sonic CD, you can listen to the soundtrack from the game. However, this screen also holds a secret that is pretty well known by now. Setting each of the values to a very specific set of numbers can lead you to various hidden images. Most of them are fine, as you can get cute ones of Sonic and Tails smiling at you. You can even get one of Sonic as an MC with Robotnik as a DJ. There are two images that stand out though. One of them is basically a fusion of Sonic and Batman, which we really don't mind. Part of us even hopes that the second Sonic film got its inspiration to have Sonic act like Batman from this image. The other image is the most infamous, and it's where the theory comes from. If you put in the numbers 46, 12, and 25 in that order and press start, you're gonna get an interesting image. A Japanese message pops up in the middle with what appears to be a signature in the bottom corner. The signature translates to Majin, which in English can be translated as devil, and the background makes it even creepier. All that there is a repeated image of Sonic, except this version has a very disturbing human-like face attached to it. The final nail in the coffin is the music. The moment you access this screen in-game, this eerie music plays, and it even includes a moment of a distorted voice laughing at one point. With all these pieces together, the theory believes that this demonic Sonic is the Majin being talked about, and the whole setup was meant for him to scare you. Some have even believed that this screen wasn't even intended for the game at all. While this does make sense at face value, this theory will be considered BS, as it has also been debunked. First off, if you read the whole message in the middle, it roughly translates to "Fun is infinite with Sega Enterprises." Also, while that bottom message does translate to Majin, that isn't a reference to any demon. Instead, it's apparently a nickname that one of the game designers, Masato Nishimura, was given prior. Also, that creepy music is part of the US soundtrack. The Japanese version version is actually accompanied by an upbeat tune. This screen was originally intended to be funny and not scary. The US version just made it creepy with its own music. For whatever reason, the US version thought that this and its game over music would be a good selection for the players to listen to. While it's fun to have urban legends or theories like this, it's hard to ignore when they've been proven false. There was also a mini theory of sorts that went around stating that this screen was meant to act as an anti-piracy screen or message, but that was also proven to be not true. We're not done with Sonic CD. As we approach our final theory, everyone knows about Sonic and his opposition with his robotic counterpart, Metal Sonic. Well, what if Metal Sonic was more than that though? Some people have wondered, could it be possible that Metal Sonic is another version of Sonic robotized? The theory stems mainly from Sonic CD. One of the game's main, yet tricky gimmicks is being able to travel to the past and future, changing different parts of the game for better or worse. This means you can get a bad future in the game. Many similar theories have formed from this, but the idea here is that in the bad future, Robotnik won. At some point, he defeats Sonic and turns him into a robot. As a result, his brain is literally reprogrammed, and he forms the goal in his new robotic mind to be better than the original Sonic in every way. It's thought that he is angry that he endured all this pain and suffering, and wants the Sonic from the past to feel something similar. This idea would also give more to Metal Sonic's line in Sonic Heroes after his final defeat, when he claims to be the real Sonic. It's also thought that at least part of the reason why Metal Sonic betrays Eggman in Sonic Heroes is because there's still part of him that had a major dislike for him, and he refused to take orders from him. After all, if he was the real Sonic, he had defeated Robotnik at one point, so why would he want to take orders from someone he can beat single-handedly? While this would be a cool concept, we will also recognize that this theory is full of holes. Time travel is such a complicated topic that it's hard to say that this would happen if a future robotic version of him wanted to go to the past to confront a prior version of himself. It's also been stated that Metal Sonic has AI that was given to him by Eggman, which allowed him to think for himself. Through his own independent thinking, he betrayed Eggman and went to defeat Sonic in his own way. Also, while we don't want to pull too much from spin-offs, we'll take a look at Metal Sonic's character description from Super Smash Bros. For 3DS. It refers to Metal Sonic as a robotic doppelganger that was created by Eggman to stop Sonic. This tells us that Metal Sonic was built from the ground up and not using Sonic's body as a source of any kind. Also, if he was created to stop Sonic, then that means that this wouldn't be Sonic robotized, because that would mean that Eggman would have already stopped Sonic by turning him into a robot working for him. This theory may have worked if this idea was officially established back during Metal Sonic's debut, but nowadays, it would not make sense. Alright guys, that's it. Let us know what you think. What fan theories or headcanon do you have about the Blue Blur? Let us know in the comments below. Also, be sure to hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. But most importantly, stay wicked.